All right, hello wine drinking people. Today is Friday, the 23rd of August, and we have got some great wines that we're taking down this month here. And first we started out, it was South American month. We switched modes into Shiraz month. Vintage Shiraz tasting tonight, and then we've got our Vintage Aussie tasting. This has become an annual event. I started doing this because we got a lot of Australian wine in the store, and I love Australia. I've been there a couple of times. And actually, it was Robert Parker Jr.'s article about vintage Shiraz when he rated a bunch of stuff that was 10 years or older. And, there's been a lot of criticism about Australian Shiraz and the wines made in Australia in general, that they won't age. They're over the top, they're big, too much fruit, not enough acidity in these wines, and they wouldn't stand the test of time. Well, I decided at that time, we should do our own test. Even though Robert Parker wrote up a bunch of wines and said they were all still fantastic, with one or two things that he lowered the score on dramatically. Most of the other wines said were holding up nicely. And like I said, I think the experimental process is much more fun if you do it personally. And this is the third or fourth year now that we have done this Vintage Aussie tasting. And I have to say, the best wines from Australia are aging beautifully. And these are all Shiraz that are 10 years or older. And, we're just doing this as an experimental thing. So, I'm going to open up the best wines that I have in the store. Well, not the Chris Ringland. It's a little bit under the budget for this. For $75, we do have a couple Chris Ringlands, the Three Rivers wine here in the store. 100-point wines even from Chris, and some other 100-point wines on the offer. Granite Creek. I've included all the Shiraz we have. There's 60 different wines in the store, not 60 bottles. Some of these wines we have a half case, some a case of. 60 different selections, 10 years or older, here at the Wine Watch, an incredible collection of Australian wines, vintage Australian wines. And hey, we've got a lot of current release stuff also. They have had some great vintages as of late. And we're going to be starting with 1987, Penfolds Grange, worth the price of admission just by itself. If you guys have never had Grange before, this is we just had the 81 at our Penfolds Grange release party, and it was the wine of the night for some people. So we're going to be trying another Penfolds wine, the Bin 28 Kalimna Shiraz. 96 vintage. We're going to go through the 90s here from here on out, 97, 98, 99, 2000, 2001, and 2002, because I want you guys to see the progression and the different vintages. We've got all these wines are great. Jim Barry's Armagh Shiraz. We've got the E&E Black Pepper from Barossa Valley Estates. We've got Clarendon Hills Australis, another one of the cult wines of Australia. The Noon Reserve, some of the greatest wines from Langhorne Creek. We got several different areas represented on the table tonight. The Shiraz Basket Press, and then, of course, we're going to throw a little Grenache in there. Clarendon Hills, their old vines. Clarendon 2002, one of my favorite old vintages. I think Parker rated the 01s much higher, but 01 was a very hot year, and a lot of the wines didn't age nearly as well as the 2002s. But, hey, that's why we do these tastings, to get a first-hand look at just how some of the greatest wines in Australia, Southeast Australia, are aging today. And like I said, for your pleasure and your drinking pleasure, if you can't make it, you could do your own Vintage Aussie tasting here. We've got 60 different selections that are 10 years or older on this offering. All right, check it out. I'm your host, Andrew Lampasoni, signing off for the Wine Watch, saying, remember, always drink the good stuff first.